Hello everyone, and welcome to my brand new series, Introduction to Programming with Python. This series is going to be aimed towards those individuals who have no prior experience to programming and who are brand new to the field and who are looking to get started with basic programming concepts as well as programming in a language like Python. And so in this video we're going to be going through some of the features of the language itself, and then after that we're going to go through how to actually install it on your Windows machine. So I guess starting off with things, why would one want to start off with Python? Well, for one thing, the syntax is very easy to read, so that makes it a great thing for beginners. It looks a lot like English itself. But besides that, it's also Python is known as a very high-level language, meaning that you can do a lot of things with a minimal amount of code, and so that allows it to be a very powerful language itself. And we'll get into more details as to why that is later on. But also it has many use cases. You can make Python websites, you can make basic 2D games. It's very popular in machine learning, so AI, data science, all that. You can program robotics with it. You can make GUIs. The list goes on and on. And so it's a very useful language to know. It's also used by very high-level tech companies out there. I know Instagram and Tinder used to have their own websites built in Python, all the back end, and so it can almost do anything. So in order to install Python, we're going to need to go to their website. So open up a tab and go to python.org. And here's where we're going to install Python. Now, one thing to say is that you're going to see different types of versions of Python, mainly Python 2 and Python 3. Python 2 is a very, a very outdated version of Python, and Python 3 is basically its upgrade. So Python 2 is obsolete, and I don't see any use case for anyone using it. So I'm going to be downloading Python 3.8. And so what you do is you go to downloads and you go to whatever machine you're running. I'm going to go to Windows. And now you want to make sure if you're running a 64-bit or a 32-bit machine, you're going to want to install that same version of Python. Because if you don't, I might be wrong on this, but I believe you'll have issues later on when running programs and the amount of RAM that the computer allows Python to use. So at the current time of this video, the newest version of Python is Python 3.8.5. So I'm going to download. Oh, and if you want to check, if you don't know if you have a 32-bit or 64-bit system, you can check using the command prompt, which we will learn how to use later on. So you can go to your search bar, type in CMD on Windows at least, and you can type in set pro. And as you can see here, the architecture is 64-bit right there. And so I'm going to install the 64-bit installer, the executable right here. So you click on that, you click on this little program right here, and now make sure to checkbox this, add Python 3.8 to path, because that allows you to use things like pip and allow Python to interact with Windows in a very more convenient way. And then we can hit install now. Give Python permission. Alright, and the setup was successful. So now Python has been installed on my computer. So now what we can do is, if we go to the search and we type in IDLE, we have this app that pops up. And so this is the Python interpreter. Now I'm going to make a quick Python file by going to File, New File, and then I'll just save this on my desktop. Example. It'll add the .py extension, which is necessary for Python files automatically. And so there it is right here. Now the contents of this file, you can access them via this. This is called the IDLE, which stands for Integrated Development Environment. So you have this that runs here, which is your input. This is where all the code goes. And then the output is going to be seen on this sort of terminal shell. It's an interpreter right here. And so this is the IDE, the text editor, and this is the output. And so next video we'll go over, actually using the text editor to add code to our file, and then we're going to play around with it from there. So that's it, the basic installation. I'm also just going to pin this to my taskbar so I have easy access to it, and it'll stay down here at all times. A few things to know about when starting off with programming. You don't need to know a lot in order to make a lot of cool stuff in Python, and that goes for programming in general. So what I mean is that you first start out learning some basic fundamental concepts and tools, and so you add these tools to your tool set, and then with those few tools you can make a lot of cool stuff only with those. And so also a really good thing to do is, once you learn a few of these basic concepts, which we'll go over, go out and practice them on your own. Come up with projects, look up, coding challenges, and that teaches you to use those tools in your arsenal very effectively and how to order them. And so it helps a lot when first starting out. And once you really get used to the basics, going up and learning new intermediate topics will become a lot easier, and you'll have a lot of fun doing so. Anyways, that concludes the video. Next episode, we'll actually start programming in our IDLE here. We'll go over some basic concepts like variables and data types. And yeah, anyways, thanks for watching, and until next time.